Hey everybody, I have got a great training session for you guys today. This is one that I've been really excited about for quite a while, and it's going to be one of those things where I think a lot of people are going to kind of have their eyes opened to why they might be spinning their wheels without really going anywhere. And so the title of this session is taking action versus faking action. And so we're going to be going over a bunch of things that seem like they're important and urgent and that you want to be doing these things to kind of grow your business. But the reality is it's slowing you down or maybe even worse, pulling you in the wrong direction. And then I'm going to go over why people do that. And then the third section of this training session is going to be what can you do instead? So what are some things that you can do that actually have an impact on your business? And I'm going to give you 6 very specific things that you can start doing right now that will have an actual big impact on your business. So I've been running my web agency for like 16 years, and and these 6 things are the things that actually really make a big difference in like the outcomes that you get with attracting clients at the rates that you really want to be working with. So so let's dive into it. So what are some of these things that seem important, that seem like a good idea, but it turns out that it's actually wasting time and burning you out? And one of those things, and I already did a whole training session on this specific one, but I want to touch on it here again because it keeps coming up over and over as I talk to more people. And that is building a portfolio. Everybody feels like it's really important to spend a lot of time building up their portfolio so that they can then use the portfolio to attract new clients at higher prices. And so the 2 things that go into the portfolio is, people feel like, well, I'll either do it for a really low rate, or maybe I'll even do a whole lot of websites like for free, just to show people, that I can do it and, establish myself. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to do that. You don't have to build a portfolio to win clients. Most of the clients that I win never even bother looking at my portfolio. So it doesn't, that part doesn't really make a difference. So there's a whole training session on why that is, that we've got a replay here in this Facebook group. I got a replay on the blog at doublestack.net/blog. You'll see that. And you can kind of dive into it. But the big thing, the big reason behind it is, your portfolio puts the emphasis on the wrong areas of your client relationship. So like if you're sitting there talking to a client and you then start talking about your portfolio, you're really putting a ton of attention on yourself, and you're putting a ton of attention on your other clients, and no attention on the client sitting in front of you. And so, that gets the momentum going in entirely the wrong direction and is a big problem. So that's one of the reasons why you don't have to, spend a whole lot of time building your portfolio, because that doesn't win clients. And you can check out that lesson for more of the details behind that one. Another one, though, is blogging, and like SEO work and that sort of a thing. A lot of people feel like, I gotta get on my blog. I gotta blog every day or at least a couple times a week. And then if I do that enough, I'll be able to get traction. And if I can put out enough articles, then I'll start getting organic search results and showing up for people looking for websites. And one of the things that's kind of interesting about blogging is you feel like you're doing something. You're really putting out the putting a lot of work into it, thinking through what you could be doing for your clients and then sticking that out there, and it feels like you're doing something, but the truth is you're not really actually doing anything. Now, I'm not saying that content marketing and blogging is a bad idea overall. But it's a long-term strategy that is, you just don't have to do it. I mean, I can't even remember the last client that I talked to that said, hey, I found your site because I searched on a blog article. And the reason why is most of the time when I look at, when I'm working with a WordPress developer, web designer, and we're kind of, doing an analysis of their website and we check out their blog, the vast majority of the time, people are blogging about things that they know about and that they care about and that they even do in their business, but that their clients would never in a million years ever search for. And so, the topics and the information, the keywords, whatever, your clients are never in a million years ever going to search for those types of topics. And that's the thing. And the bigger underlying point, though, is your clients aren't really searching the internet for websites. Like, I work with a lot of doctors. I talk to a lot of people that work with construction people, restaurant owners, landscapers, just across the board, all kinds of different industries. But nobody ever gets on the internet, from those industries and searches, for any of the things that people are blogging about. And so while it feels like you're doing something, it's really just spinning your wheels in a huge time sink and doesn't actually make any real difference. So you can stop doing that and win just as many, if not more, clients, because now you can invest your time in other things that matter. So, and the same is true for social media. You don't have to be on, like, I don't think I've ever won a client through social media in my entire life. That's not to say that I don't, I mean, here we are right now on Facebook, but it's, none of my web development, like people that I build websites for and coach with their, building up their business with them, none of them have ever come through any form of social media ever in my whole life. And so, but a lot of people feel like it's really important to, get activity going through their social media channels so that they can win people that want them to build websites and so forth. And every once in a while, I'll hear about somebody who has had some success with that, but it's so rare. It's so rare. And that it's, and most of the time, scheduling the post and writing the content and finding the content and doing all the work that it takes to really spin up your social media, channels or whatever that may be, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, LinkedIn, it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't really get you the outcomes that you want. But again, it feels like you're doing something. And so that's a really big lure to ineffective growth for your business. So you can stop doing that one too. Another one is, I've kind of jotted down some notes here. One of them I jotted down was kind of working for way less than you want. That kind of falls into the category that we talked about in the beginning about how you don't have to have a big portfolio. And one of the things that happens is, people say, well, in order to build my portfolio, then I'll work for less than I really feel like I'm worth. And then you get burnt out. And so one of the things that's a little bit, the reason I'm mentioning it now, in addition to the portfolio thing, is because a lot of times if you take on work that's, significantly less than you, hey, Rebecca, that you think is, that you're worth, and you begin to get, angry about it a little. You feel like everybody's getting a good deal but you, and, it's hard to do your best work. And that's not fair for you, and it's not fair for your clients either. If somebody's going to be working with you, you need to structure it in a way so that you feel good about it and that you are in a position to be able to do your best work. And so that's another thing that doesn't really work. And Rebecca just showing up reminded me, I always forget to say hello. I get so excited about jumping into, talking about these things that I forget to say hi, give everybody a high five. Thanks, Rebecca. So if you're here, if you're checking this out, go ahead and just, give me a high five, say hello, jot your name down, just whatever, just so I can see that you're here. So that'd be awesome. And also, as we're talking about these things, I always forget to the very end. If you want to talk to me specifically about any of these types of things, then I have made my calendar available so we can do a one-on-one call. So like what we're doing, like you're like, oh man, yeah, I'm doing that, and I'm not seeing the results. What can I do instead? If you want to talk specifically about your business, your target market, your pricing, the kinds of clients you want to work with, how can you get those clients on retainers that kind of like level out, stabilize, and scale your business, that kind of stuff, head over to doublestack.net/call, pick a time that works for you, and we'll get on the phone and talk about it. Okay, so back to this. So we're talking about things that seem like good ideas, but they end up actually just wasting your time, being a big time sink, and burning you out, and not actually getting the kind of results that you're really looking for with regard to growing your business. And oftentimes the actual opposite is true, where it actually kind of pulls you into the wrong direction, and you actually end up not ever getting the kind of results, and you end up kind of stalling out and quitting. Hey, Chrissy. So let's see here. Where did we leave off? So we were talking about working for free or working for cheap. And so the next one after that one is redesigning your own website. So a lot of times, I talk to people, they're like, yeah, I'm really spending a lot of time reworking my brand, reworking my logo, changing the colors, changing my website, trying to, grow my business because of that. And, one of the things that, and again, that's one of the things that feels like you're actually doing something. It feels like you're putting work into it. If somebody says, what have you done today? You can say, look at this, and you got this website, you got more pages now, better content, whatever. And it feels like you're doing something. And the truth is, you don't really even need a website. I talked to a bunch of web designers that don't even have a real website at all. They just work specifically for their clients. And so the importance of having your own website is pretty small with regard to the other things that we're going to be talking about here in just a few minutes that you can be doing that actually have a big impact. So yeah, go ahead. I'm not saying don't have a website. I'm saying don't spend an unusually large amount of time tweaking it, fine tuning it, adjusting it, doing all of these things. because that's not what draws in clients. And the main reason why is because your clients aren't finding you online. Most people that, have these types of, the type of business that I have and that you guys are working on, most people don't find you through organic Google searching or anything like that. You might hand out a business card and, somebody might go to your website and check you out in that way, but that's a really low traffic, low volume kind of a thing. And, putting an unusually large amount of time into that is wasting your time and burning you out and not getting you the results that you're really looking for in terms of onboarding clients at the rates that you're really worth. So, just be cautious about the fact that it feels like you're doing something and it's something that you can do. And so, oftentimes it really sucks away a lot of time. So that's another one. So redesigning your site, reworking your logo. And then another one too, this is kind of a funny one. Thinking about your business name. There's so much time that people spend thinking, what should I call my business? Should I rename my business? What should it be called? And no one has ever told me in 16 years of building websites for them, the reason that they decided to work with me is because I have a snazzy business name. And so, you need a business name. I definitely feel like, people that are doing what we're doing should probably set up an LLC, and the LLC should have a name, and the name can probably be reflected in your brand and so forth. But you don't have to spend a whole lot of time thinking about a catchy, snazzy one. And there's just a couple of things, a couple of points to kind of pull out from that. One of the most successful products I ever have released had the worst name I've ever thought of in my entire life. And that was the Myjira hosted payment page, hosted checkout platform. And it was Mijireh. And that was, the funny thing about that name was, it was, nobody can say it, nobody can spell it, nobody can remember it. It's the worst name. It wasn't even intended to be a name. It was a code name that we were using because, we had to start writing the code for it and everything. And so we had to call it something. So we called it that. And then what ended up happening was it got so popular, and WooCommerce actually embedded it into their plugin. This is before they merged with Automatic. And so Myjira was not only baked into Cart66, but also into WooCommerce and, a bunch of other e-commerce platforms. And it literally scaled up to I think we were making $90,000 a month off it. And it had the worst name ever that was out there. Now, granted, if that's your name, if you feel like the name can't be pronounced, can't be remembered, can't be spelled, probably you should consider a better name. But you don't have to spend so much time on it. You don't have to spend weeks and weeks thinking about it and pondering what it should be and, all of those types of things. Just pick something that people can say, that people can spell, that's relatively memorable, maybe some kind of variation on your name yourself. And so, and do that, or maybe a name that has something to do with where you live, like, the Chesapeake Web, consulting or whatever. So, don't try to spend too much time on that because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So those are some things that are huge time sinks. So then the question becomes, so why do people do it? Why do people spend all that kind of time on stuff that seems like it doesn't matter? And the reason is for two reasons. The first reason is it seems like, you're really into it. You really want to do a great job. You're passionate about your business. You want to do some awesome stuff. And people don't really know what else to do, because, we're all technical. We all know how to do the web. We know that social media matters for other clients. So why not for us? And so you start doing the things that you know how to do, and then that's it. And so it feels like you're doing something. So that's one of the reasons. But then there's another reason. The other reason is, and this is I guess it's a speculation, but it's based on a lot of interaction that I've had. I mean, I've literally talked to thousands of WordPress consultants and web designers. And, and here's one of my observations from those interactions. And that is a lot of people feel really nervous about actually going out and making offers. That's the thing. They feel like they don't feel comfortable with it. They don't like to go to business networking meetings. They don't feel like they have an offer that's strong enough to offer to somebody. And even if they did, they feel uncomfortable with it because they don't like the feeling of selling. They don't want to they don't want to be like the the people like the Amway people that call all your friends and try to sell them soap and stuff. And then everyone hates you now because they think that all that you ever do is call them and to buy products they don't even want. And then, of course, if they don't want the product, then you stop calling them and it just wrecks the whole thing. People don't like that, and they don't want to be that person. And so when they go out to wherever they may be, whether it's like an actual networking event, even there where people are expected to kind of act that way, people that I talk to, they don't want to do that. They don't like it. It sucks. So they don't do it. And then the other side is, even if they knew business owners that they could potentially help, or, maybe they even like go to a gym or something like that, and they know the gym owner, they don't want to ruin the relationship by say, hey, you want a website? And make it seem like, you're kind of ruining the authenticity of a real relationship by, kind of inserting business into it. And so people feel bad for a variety of reasons about going out and making these offers, and so they don't do it. But they don't feel bad about blogging, or they don't feel bad about thinking about their logo or their business name or the colors for their site. All of those things don't feel bad, but they also don't produce any results either. And so now let's jump into the other side. So we kind of talked about a bunch of things that don't really matter. We talked about, why it is that people kind of do this stuff. So now let's jump into what actually does matter. Like, what can you do that actually makes a difference? I'm going to give you 6 things that you can do right now that make a big difference for your business and how you market yourself. And of course, when you change the way that you market yourself, you change the type of people that you attract, and that of course then changes your business. So let's do it. So the big umbrella over which all of these next 6 things can kind of reside is business development for you. So these are the things that you can do to make a difference for your business. The first one is figuring out what your monthly revenue needs to be. And so this is one of the things that people oftentimes overlook, but it's a really critical first step to figure out, because if you don't know that, then you don't know how many clients you need, you don't know what prices to charge, and if you don't know any of those types of things, then you don't know what kind of offers to make in order to be able to hit your income goals so that you can actually keep staying in business. So thing number 1 is figuring out what your actual monthly revenue needs to be so that you can actually do the work, so that you're there to be able to do your job. And so not only is that important for you, it's important for the people that you work with, because if you sell them something that's not going to enable you to hit your monthly income goals, you're not going to be there to continually support them, because you're going to go out of business. And so if you go out of business, then who's going to be managing their website? So you're not going to be there to get the results for yourself, and you're not going to be there to get results for your clients. So thing number 1 is figure out, how much do you want to make? How much revenue does your business need to generate for you to keep you, to give you the opportunity to actually do the work? So that's a really important point. And what I find is most people that I talk to, they want to be somewhere in the $5,000 to $10,000 per month range. And if they could do that, that would be awesome. They tend to be starting out around, somewhere between nothing. They're just getting started, or they haven't been able to onboard any clients, or maybe they're up to like, maybe $2,000-$3,000, per month, kind of on average. Some months are more, some months are less. There's the feast or famine issue, but kind of across the board, somewhere in the $3,000 per month range. And so most people want to bump that up to 5 to 10, 60,000 to into the 6-figure range to really feel good about what they're doing. And so figure that out for you. Like, where do you want to land on that spectrum? So what do you need to make in order to be able to stay in business? Big point. So then once you figure that out, then you think, well, how many clients do I need in order to hit that level? And so in the process of doing that, so say you figure out what your pricing is going to be, your income requirements are going to be, and then Esteban says $5K per month would be perfect for him. So yeah, that's true. A lot of people feel the same way, and so that means, okay, if that's the price point that you want to be in, then what do you need to sell to be able to get to that price point? And so what that means is, how much you have to charge in order to hit that, and compare that with how many clients you need to get. So for example, I talk to a lot of clients who are a lot of web designers who want to, get to that $5,000 per month range, but their average project, kind of what they have in mind, what they can do for a client, tends to be about $1,000 project. And then if they begin to raise their prices above $1,000, they begin to get a lot of resistance from their clients, and it becomes a difficult thing to do. So most clients get $800 to $1,200, kind of right in that range, tends to be what people need for their business, and for their project when they're offering projects to clients. And so then if you figure, okay, well, if I'm selling $1,000 projects and I need to get to $5,000 per month, that means I got to sell 5 of them every single month in order to hit that income goal. So now you need to do is you need to think, well, can you do that much work? Can you sell 5 websites and build them and produce them and launch them every month to hit that $5,000 per month income goal so that you can actually stay in business doing your job? And the answer tends to be no. Nobody can really do that. People tend to not be able to find that many clients. And even if they could, they tend to not be able to build that many websites that fast. Because, usually in my experience, it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to actually go from start to finish building a website, writing the content, getting the design work, doing all the things that you have to do. Now you can stagger them. You can, interweave them so that you're not, doing, full on one particular site for, whatever. But even still, it's still an awful lot of clients to find, an awful lot of work to be doing. And then on top of that, you have to do it as fast as you can to move on to the next client so that you can keep hitting that income goal. It's a really fast-paced race type of thing. And that type of product doesn't give the client the result that they're really looking for, which is growth for their business. It gives them a website, but then so the big question becomes, if that's the kind of project that you're offering, then you try to bump the price up to say $1,200 for it or whatever. What are you going to say when your client says, "Ooh, $1,200, that's a little more than I want to spend. Why can't I just go hire someone on Upwork for half your price? Or why can't I just spend a weekend on Wix and do it myself for free?" And so that's a big question that you need to figure out. You have to figure out the answer to that if you want to start charging a higher rate. But all of that is to say, in order to be able to grow your business to the point where it's sustainable, you need to figure out these questions, and figuring out, how many clients you need and what your price point is to be able to hit those goals. Those are important things. And so those are kind of like 3 things that you can do right now, figuring out those 3 things. The next 3 things are all about going out and like making offers. So rather than sitting behind your computer and blogging and tweeting and social media stuff and whatever that isn't actually going to generate clients, even though it feels like you're doing stuff, that's like the faking action stuff. The taking action means actually going out and making offers to your clients. And so, and that means, kind of like we've already touched on it already a little bit, that means being able to answer the question of, why should I pay you $3,000 or $5,000 to build my website when I could go and get it for $800 or $1,000 from somebody cheaper? And so that becomes to be a big point. So figuring out what the offer is that you're making is going to be one of those types of things. So thing number 1 is answering that question, like, what is it that makes you different from all the other cheaper alternatives? And so that you can, differentiate yourself, is what I'm trying to say. So, and that leads into thing number 2, which is, are you offering good investments to your clients? So what that means is, one of the reasons that people feel uncomfortable going out to business networking meetings or mentioning to their friends or business owners that they know that they can help them online is because kind of in the backs of their minds, they know they're offering a bad investment. And what I mean by a bad investment is, it's going to cost your client more to buy the website than the website's going to generate for them in terms of income. And so that kind of is basically the definition of what a bad investment means. You spend more than you get back. And so how can you change things so that that's not the case? Like, what can you do so that it's a good investment? And so that kind of has a couple of like angles to it. One of them is, if you're offering somebody a website, say you're going to charge, say, $3,000 to build their website, are you going to be delivering a different outcome for them than they could have gotten for $500 or $800 had they gone to some other developer or on Wix or whatever? So, why would they spend double the price or more for your work compared to someone else? And if you can't answer that question, then you feel uncomfortable, because you're like, well, good grief, I'm trying to get my clients to invest poorly, spend more money than they otherwise would have to, because I need to get that to that price level in order to hit the income goal so that I can stay in business. And so, you remove that aspect of what you're doing, and like the whole castle crumbles. So that's why this is a really important question to get answered, which is, how can I sell a website that's going to be a good investment? Which means either you're going to compete on price or you're going to compete on outcome. And my strong encouragement is not to compete on price. And that's why we're in the mess that we're in right now. Everybody's competing on price, and it's getting driven down more and more and more because of Fiverr and Upwork and the do-it-yourself website builders like Wix and Weebly and Squarespace. All of that is making the price of getting a website lower and lower and lower. And so if you're out there selling websites, then you're competing against all of those types of things. And so how can you charge a high rate of money? Like how can you get it like a high ticket offer for something that is, has the price is just falling out of the bottom? So that's a big issue. Offering a good investment. So the thing number two in terms of making offers is offering a good investment. And then the last one is, are you asking questions that make it seem to your client like you have no idea what they need? And so with regard to like making your offers stand out, differentiating yourself, making sure that you have a good investment opportunity for the people that you're working with, if you want somebody to spend $3,000 or $5,000 on a website and you want to onboard them to a retainer that's like $500 to $1,000 per month, to kind of keep the ball rolling. Keep in mind, that's like a $15,000 relationship over the course of the year to do that kind of thing. If that's what you're offering, because because of the first things we just talked about, that you need to hit that level in order to stay in business, then the question becomes, are you presenting yourself in a way that makes your client feel safe investing in you at that level? And most of the time, I would say probably 99% of the web designers that I talk to have a pattern in place where it goes something like this. They either have like an onboarding questionnaire, or they get a client really interested and then they send them like an email with some questions in it, or they meet face to face and kind of ask them these types of questions. Whatever the way, however they collect the data, the situation is the same. And the questions are things like this. Tell me what you want your website to do. How many pages do you want your website to be? Can you send me some links to other websites that you like, and then we can kind of mimic some of those design features in your website? What would you like the client experience to be like when they're interacting with your site? So you're at, all of these questions. Now keep in mind, those are all questions that need to be answered, right? I mean, you can't build an effective website without those answers. But when you're asking those questions to your client, they don't know the answer, and you're really strongly underscoring the fact that you have no idea what they need or what's even going on. That's not the way to establish yourself as a leader or as an authority in this situation. And what you're doing is you're putting the entire burden of success on the shoulders of your client. And of course, the whole reason they're contacting you is because they don't know how to get the success. They don't know what to do. And so now you're sitting in a room where nobody knows what to do. And when that's the situation, it's not a good investment. It's not a high ticket offer. It's not results driven. It's a mess. It's a big fat mess. And so in order to clean all that up, you really need to be thinking about those types of things. So just to kind of recap real quick, the 6 things to do with regard to the business development that actually matters for growing your business is this. Thing number 1 was figure out what your monthly income needs to be. What do you need to make to stay in business? Thing number 2 was how many clients do you need in order to hit that goal, which kind of leads into thing number 3, which is, what are you selling to the clients? Because you kind of have to figure out thing 2 and 3 together. What's the price point and how many clients do you need in order to figure out if you're going to hit that income goal. So those are the first 3 things that go together. Figure that stuff out because it's critical. If you don't figure it out, you'll never get success because you have no idea where you're going. This is the compass. This is like the North Star to figure out what you need to do to get there. So those 3 things. The next 3 things is, why shouldn't I just hire someone for half of what you're charging? When your clients, when you present an offer to them and they say, oh yeah, $3,000, $5,000, $7,000, that's too much. Why can't I just hire a cheaper web developer, do it myself for free? You have to figure out does your offer do that the other offers don't do. So like, how are you differentiating that? How do you answer that question for your business and the type of work you're doing? And if your answer is, I really care, I really try hard, I answer emails, I'm in the same time zone, I'm friendly, those answers don't cut it. Those aren't good enough because, there are a lot of friendly people and there are a lot of people that genuinely want to help. And that's why we're doing these training sessions. It's because if you're watching this video, you're someone who genuinely wants to help people. You're a good person trying to do good work for other good clients. but yet things tend to be falling flat and you're wondering what to do about it. So you show up and we talk about it. That's the whole point. That's why I do this stuff, to be able to, help people in that way. So being able to answer that question is like, why are you twice as valuable as everybody else? Figure out the answer to that question. And then the next one is, why is the website a good investment? Like, how is the website either, a good financial investment because you're cheaper than everybody else, which I think is a bad, business proposition for your company, because how are you going to compete with everybody on Upwork and Fiverr? Or, how is the website going to generate more revenue for your client than they're spending to get the website? Now that's the real question. That's what you should really be focusing on. What combination of services can you offer that generate results for your clients? So that's thing number 2. And then thing number 3, which is actually thing number 6, is our second group of 3, is, are you asking questions that make it seem like you have no idea what's going on? Because if that's the thing, and the reason this is the last one is because this is one of the most important ones, because if you show up at a client meeting and they don't have the confidence in you that you can actually deliver on what you're saying, then no one's ever going to respond to your high ticket offer. You're asking for a high ticket offer with a really low ticket, presentation. And those two things will never go together. And so don't ask questions that are like, what do you want your website to do? Who are you trying to reach? Those questions reveal that you have no idea what's going on. You don't know what they need, and therefore they can't count on you to get them anywhere, because you're sitting in a room where nobody knows what to do. They don't know what to do. That's why they hired you, and you're revealing that you don't know what to do because you're asking them questions that nobody knows the answers to. So that's probably the biggest problem. And if you put your effort into figuring that out, then you begin to totally transform your business, and you set yourself apart from everyone else, because everybody, like literally, there's just a very small number of people that I talk to that have a different structure than that for the way they interact with their clients. And so the common denominator across the board with all of the low budget options, whether it is other WordPress developers that charge less, or whether it's going onto somewhere like Fiverr or Upwork, or whether it's going onto Weebly or Wix and the client's just building the site themselves, all of those other low budget options have one thing in common, which is, like we already said, the thing in common is they all put the entire burden of success on the shoulders of your client, and they don't know how to handle it. They can't bear that weight, which is why they're asking for your help in the first place. And then most people show up revealing that they don't have any idea either, and everybody is just sitting in a room where nobody knows. But if you can take your client out of that situation and lead them into the results that they're looking for, lead them into success that's greater than they can get, had it not been for you, now you're really doing something here. Now the success is on you. You're actually showing up as a leader, and you're doing it with integrity because you're offering them something that really is going to make a difference for their business. You're offering something that matters. You're offering them a good investment, and you're not just doing the work just because you can. And that makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference in how you feel about your business. It makes a huge difference in your confidence when you go out and talk to people. It makes a huge difference in the way that you present your offers, because you know that if they say yes, it's going to be better for them. And you don't have that kind of splinter in your mind where every time you think about the fact that, oh man, I charged them $3,000 for this site, but I don't have any idea how they're going to make $3,000 from it. You don't have to think about that anymore, because you've got a plan in place to fix that issue. And that's that's you. You're leading them into the results that they're looking for. So anyway, so if it sounds like that's the kind of stuff that you want to be doing, but you're feeling sort of stuck into how do you actually implement that? How do you do that? How do you implement a business model that has the tools that drive the business results, that has the business packages that you can offer for to your clients to really get them the results they're looking for, and has the structure that you can scale to generate the income you need to stay in business, whether that's $5,000 or $10,000 per month? And how do you do it consistently so that you don't have that feast or famine problem where your income is just all over the place and you never know what to expect? If those are the questions that are on your mind and you want some help figuring that stuff out, then that's what I am here for. And so that's why I do these training sessions, and that's why I make my calendar open for you guys to, so we can talk one-on-one specifically about your business and your clients and the people that you want to be working for and your goals and the industries that you like, all of those types of things. I can't really dive into that in this big group setting because there's so many people here. So that's why if we have a one-on-one conversation, we can really figure all that stuff out specifically for you. So if that sounds like something that you want to talk about, then head over to doublestack.net/call and we can talk about it for free. And it'll be a 45-minute conversation, and we'll dive into all of this stuff and get you that step-by-step plan so you can start answering these questions for yourself, and so you can start going out with confidence. And when you start talking to people, you don't feel bad about it, and you really open up the door to a lot more leads and a lot better relationships with the clients that you're working with. So if that sounds like something good, then I think it's great too. And let's do it. Hop over to doublestack.net/call. We'll get on the phone and talk about that stuff. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, specifically about what we're talking about today, go ahead and put that in the comments over there. And I'll be keeping an eye on that throughout the week. I know it's Thursday, so we got the weekend coming up. So here's a high five for the weekend. Boop. And then we'll get back together again on Tuesday. We do these things twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, right here in the Facebook group live. So thanks so much for showing up. I was really excited about this one. I hope you guys felt like it was really helpful for you too. And again, we can talk about it one-on-one if you like. And in the meantime, we will get back together again next Tuesday. So awesome, guys. Have a fun and a safe weekend. And thanks so much for showing up. High five. Boop. Take care, guys.